Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over the 2024 candidates and how I think their chances are of winning and how they can change the political scene. I'm going through Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, although Independents will take like 2 seconds because they don't have a chance of winning in a two-party system, especially with the Electoral College. I know that pisses some people off, but alright, whatever. So Joe Biden, he's the first one on here, the only Democrat with publicly expressed interest on here. I'm well aware that Wikipedia isn't the most accurate source. They have changed some stuff around here. They used to have Andrew Yang on publicly expressed interest, but now I don't think he's anywhere, unless he declined to run, which he didn't. But yeah, Joe Biden, I don't think that he would, do extraordinarily well in a re-election. I think he would do a little bit worse than the Rust Belt. And if Pennsylvania moves to the right enough, I think it would be enough for him to lose in 2024. He doesn't have the best chances, although it's not just the Joe Biden character that people are voting for. Just like 2020, there's a lot of anti-Trump votes. And kind of like this, I do think that if Biden keeps on a lot of his promises, he will do very good uh, on impressions for the first time, and that could lead him to a second term. And again, I don't think he will. I really don't want to go over Biden that much because I don't think he'll run for another term. If he does, we're going to have a lot of talks about it on this channel. But I do not think he will run again. Now, on the potential candidates that aren't publicly expressed but probable and running, more than likely, some of these will. Stacey Abrams, she's one of the ones I wanted to talk about. Now, she's never run for president. She's never run for Senate, been in the Senate, but it does look like she's been in the Georgia House of Representatives for a while, and she is a big face in Georgia, especially Atlanta. I do think that she could. Uh, I do think she should wait a little bit longer to run. I do think that if she runs, especially this quick after becoming popular in the state of Georgia, I do think that there would be a lot of questions about her experience in politics, despite her have been in the political arena for 6 years and have run for Georgia governor. I do think there would be a lot of questions, kind of like what Beto O'Rourke did, like, uh, if you didn't win this race, what makes you think you could win an even bigger race? Kind of like that. I think Stacey Abrams should be more of a public speaker for the state of Georgia, and again, I think she should definitely run for Senate or governor. I think that would be a good look for her, and if she is really truly interested in running for president, I do think she should run in around in 2028, 2032, once Georgia makes a noticeable 100% good shift to the left, once Georgia's locked down for the Democrats, that would be her perfect time to run. Show that she could state that she saved uh, the election for the Democrats. Honestly, that could be a very good look for her. But as of right now, I don't think Stacey Abrams should run at all. Pete Buttigieg, I don't want to stay on him too long, although I will mention that he does have a lot of political experience. He just got confirmed into the Secretary of Transportation. He has a lot of uh, he has a pretty good approval rating among Democrats, and he's a moderate Democrat, so he's a little bit better among Republican and Independent approval among other candidates. I think this would be the first openly gay president, but I don't think that matters. As long as he's a white guy, that's what a lot of the white people care about. But yeah, Pete Buttigieg could have a very solid run if Biden or Kamala Harris did not run for election. If Biden chooses not to run, Kamala Harris chooses not to run, Pete Buttigieg is more than likely going to be on the top of that list, or at least one of the top three. He is pretty liked among the Biden administration, and I don't know. I just think he would do pretty well. That's it. Moving on to Kamala Harris. I mean, sorry. I former senator of California, obviously first woman vice president. Blah blah blah. She definitely will have a lot of issues going through her campaign, particularly her past job performance. There's a lot of evidence and rumors that she's been hiding, that like she did bad with her former law jobs. There could be a lot of law and order placed things there to take her down. Honestly, Kamala Harris, she would more than likely win if she became the nominee, but there would be a small challenge. I do think being the vice president, that a lot of people in the Democratic Party would blindly vote for her in the primaries and in the election. But I do think that people should take a better look at what's around them. Not that Harris isn't great and all, but I do think Kamala Harris would do decent. Decent. She's definitely one of the best candidates for this. She's polling the best. But it's the question of, will she get that kind of turnout that Pete Buttigieg would? Would she get that kind of turnout that Gavin Newsom would? Probably around the same as Gavin Newsom. I don't know why I said Gavin Newsom. I'm just reading what's on there. I do think there would be a lot more turnout with some of the other candidates. I don't think she's a highly influential candidate there, and that might hurt her a little bit. But overall, if she becomes the nominee against, especially Ron DeSantis, the most likely nominee right now for the Republican Party, I do think there's a very good chance that she would win the presidency. Like around a 70% chance that she could win against Ron DeSantis. But honestly, that means nothing. Ron DeSantis could crush her. I know she'll get crushed in Florida. I know she'll get crushed in not in Wisconsin. Honestly, she'd really have to hope to hold on to Arizona and Georgia, which I do think that kind of candidate would. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York. I don't think she should run from a U.S. representative straight to the president. I don't think that's very smart at all of her to do. She's very young as well. She's not extremely experienced, but she does have a semi-positive public eye, and she is like third in polling right now. She is more on the liberal side of the Democrats, and I don't think that would go very well. I do think if Bernie Sanders ran in 2020 and became the nominee, he almost did. I do think it would have been a very similar situation. He's too far left for this economy. He's too far left. With the far left, there's a lot of chances in their plans that could hurt the economy and other things like that. Although I do think that if they could go through a lot of convincing and be very clear on what they want to do, any far left candidate could have a high inspiration among voters. I'm not going to go over Elizabeth Warren. She's not going to run. Uh, I I don't know why. She's not going to run. She's too old. Actually, no, she's not. I think she'll be like as old as Biden, but I don't know. I just don't think she has nearly enough turnout. I don't think there's a chance in hell she would win the presidency. Although declined to be candidates, Andrew Cuomo, believe it or not, this was before all the scandals. He automatically did that. I do think he could have done pretty well if there was none of this going on right now. Michelle Obama. People are going to hate me for this, but I'm not too fond of her. I do think that she could have a very good turnout. Another President Obama, people would love that. Especially the people who voted for Biden. Most people who voted for Biden. Yeah, Michelle Obama would more than likely win against a moderate or far right Republican. She would just be so popular for running, and she did decline, and I'm not going to go over it. I just do think that there could have been a very good opportunity for Michelle Obama to run in the upcoming years, but it doesn't look like if she doesn't run in 2024, doesn't look like she'll ever run. Maybe 2028, but if she doesn't run this decade for something, she's not gonna win. You can't win just by being a first lady. I mean, I know she did other stuff too. The first lady had a job, but uh, nothing major politically. Bernie Sanders already declined a run. Too old, too far left, not many chances. Although, again, he does get pretty high turnout in the primaries that he's been in. I am very impressed with how Bernie Sanders actually did in both 2016 and 2020. I believe he actually got more votes than Hillary in 2016, but lost because of the superdelegates. But now let's move on to the Republican Party. Publicly expressed interest. Obviously, the opposition party is going to have a lot more, and there is some candidates that I'm just going to skip here. There's so many candidates, and I do think a pretty good amount of them have no chance in winning. Like Dan Bongino, he's a commentator. I don't think he will win. He was a nominee for Senate in 2012. He's a radio host. I know I'm reading his description, but it's what he is. I have heard a lot about him. He just sounds like a nerd. I don't think he would do very well unless I don't think he could drive enough turnout. And turnout turnout is the best way to get the nomination, and then you need to get even more turnout in the presidential race. And he even ran in 2016. He didn't even do that good. Uh, Yeah, it doesn't look like he's run anything. Republican nominee for Senate in 2012, nominee for House of Representatives in 2014, candidate in 2016. Nothing. He won nothing. He's not a good candidate, and I've seen this before. There's a lot of Republicans who just have this dream of being president, and I don't think he could do it. I really don't. Moving on to Chris Christie, I do believe that as of being the governor of New Jersey, he could. Sit well with some of the Democrats, and I know he doesn't, but I do think that there could be more of a peace between parties with Chris Christie being the nominee. He ran in 2016. I actually remember him running, and he wasn't one of the worst performing candidates, but he wasn't one of the best ones. He was more in the middle. Now, if Chris Christie ends up running for president and actually gets the nomination, his chances against someone like Kamala Harris, surprisingly, I think he would do decent. I'm not sure if he would win. We'd have to talk about that. I don't know enough about Chris Christie. He's not that in the arena anymore. He hasn't been since 2016. I just don't think he could do it. Or get I just don't think he could get the turnout for the nomination. If he does, then yeah, again, that's a whole different situation. But yeah, Tom Cotton, he's a very well known person among all parties or people who are interested in politics for the U.S. A lot of people know Tom Cotton. I know Tom Cotton. Uh, he's a senator from Arkansas. Blah blah blah. Uh, he wouldn't win. I don't see any chance he would win. He's going to be like what I did with Warren. He's just not going to win. Tom Cotton will get trashed on in any election. He's like a right leaning. He's like far right. He's like as far right as you can be for a moderate. I don't think Tom Cotton would sit well with many Republican voters at all, especially since he has called Trump out. And I do think Trump would completely destroy his campaign if he speaks out anymore against him. Ted Cruz could be an interesting person to talk about. He ran for president in 2016. I remember that as well. Yeah, the senator from Texas. Thing is, I think that if he ever wants to increase his level in politics, he's gonna have to do it now. Texas is heavily shifting blue, and he would definitely have to run in 2024 for either House of Reps, which is a huge step down randomly that no one would see this coming except for me. Oh, I'm kidding. But yeah, Ted Cruz, he's polling decent. He has the Trump vote if Trump doesn't run. I I know that, and that would help him. But he's he used to be very well loved in Texas. He lost by around 2 points to Beto O'Rourke. 2 points in the state of Texas that Mitt Romney won by 16 points. And while that was combined with Texas not liking Ted Cruz at the time, compared with the Cancun trip, I know a lot of people don't think that's a big deal, but for people in Texas, it is. They will remember that for the rest of their lives. If they ever see Ted Cruz running for president or running for re-election in the Senate, and I don't even think that by the time he's up for re-election in, I believe, 4 years, that he would do very well at all in Texas. He has bad approval, everything. Among the rest of the country, though, he does pretty good. Thing about Ted Cruz is, though, if he gets the nomination, everything goes his way, he could win, but he'd have to keep Texas. And that, surprisingly, that would be more of an issue than people think. That's in 3 years, and that's a lot of time for Texas to shift. If it shifts as much as it did in 2016, it'll be very, very close. One of the closest states in the entire election. But yeah, let's get off Ted Cruz. We still have a ton to get through. Matt Gaetz, he's new. He's new. I don't think he would win. Not much experience. I don't think that Matt Gaetz would win it. He's old. I've actually heard his name before, though. I just don't think he would win. Honestly, I don't. Although Nikki Haley, a well-known person, obviously governor of South Carolina, that's already enough. I mean, honestly, if South Carolina pulled out for her early, honestly, being from South Carolina and the Republican Party for the nomination starting would be great for her. I do think she would have a very well thought out race if Trump doesn't run. And honestly, if she does become the nominee, there's a heavy chance, not a heavy chance, but heavier than a lot of these other candidates that she would win. It's one of the only ones I would say I'm not sure which way it would go. I really don't know how Nikki Haley could do. But being from South Carolina, I think that would already bode well. Not even just because it's a left-shifting state, but she could represent she could represent the South. And I think that could be very well a very good strategy for her. People of the South, I don't know. I just think she'd be very good, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Although, yeah, no, it's ambassador of the United Nations. I remember that too. She just did good, and I just think, yeah, I don't know. She's just pulling well everything. There's a lot of good stuff going for her, and she's one of the best candidates for this. Candace Owens, I don't understand how you can be an activist, and I mean, I'm a political activist, but be an activist and publicly express against climate change. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, Candace Owens, just completely roasted. Candace Owens, I don't think would do very well. I don't think she's even polling very well. She has no political office. It's just she's shown interest in running for president. I don't think she's a real contender, though. Mike Pompeo would be a interesting run. I don't think he would win. I don't. I think he would do well, but I don't think he would win. I don't have much to say about that, but Mike Pompeo, I just don't see that going well for him. I think if he would need to stay in the political arena for a little bit longer, although he's not old, but decently old. Donald Trump. Oh God, he's still here. Oh my. Donald Trump would definitely be the nominee for the Republican Party if he decides to run in anything. Donald Trump would immediately be the nominee for any Republican race. He's a very safe. If he runs for Senate in Florida, he'll win. If he runs for any U.S. House of Representatives in Florida, he'll win. If he runs for president, that's where things might go downhill for him. I'm not sure how this would go out, but given if COVID is cleared by this time and Trump tries to take credit, which he does tend to do, I do think that could be decent. He has run for president 3 times, and if he runs a 4th time, that means he will lose 75% of his presidential elections. I don't think he would do very well, especially against Kamala Harris. If he runs, though, if he runs with Pence, the original duo, I think that will be something else to talk about. If he runs with another hard right wing person like Ted Cruz as vice president, I think he could definitely lose Texas, and losing Texas is an automatic loss. But whatever, I'm going through this right now. Other potential candidates: Greg Abbott. All right, so I'm gonna go over the scenario I would see. The only scenario I'd see Greg Abbott running for governor, for president. Only scenario I would see Beto O'Rourke running against Greg Abbott for governor, like he said he might, losing, and then he runs for president. If he loses a Texas statewide race, though, he'll more than likely lose Texas as well in a presidential race, although that's not always the case. But yeah. Charlie Baker, governor of Massachusetts. He wouldn't win. Although he is governor of Massachusetts and does sit well with Democrats, he wouldn't win. He wouldn't win. He wouldn't. He's not experienced enough. I don't see it. I've heard a lot about him. I know him, and he's not a good candidate. Liz Cheney. Trump doesn't like her. She's only a representative, although technically for the whole state of Wyoming. And she's been censured. She wouldn't win. That's an immediate no. Here's an interesting one. Ron DeSantis, the more than likely person to be the nominee if he runs. I think he would have an extraordinary campaign. He wouldn't have that many scandals at all. He's very liked in the state of Florida. That's a guaranteed win. I think that he could definitely try. Well, Donald Trump had a campaign in Florida. That's the thing. That's a lot of wasted time. I don't think Ron DeSantis, if he runs, he should campaign in Florida or Wisconsin. I think with the generic shifts, he would win those anyway. But if he can manage to take Pennsylvania, which he probably would, and maybe flip one of the other states that Biden flipped, I do think he would win. I do think he will keep the state, although the thing is, he'd have to keep North Carolina, he'd have to keep Texas, he will keep Ohio and Iowa, no doubt about that. But yeah. I have to go through this quick. Larry Hogan sits good with moderate Democrats. He's my governor. He's definitely my governor. I hear about him a lot, and Republicans hate him. They hate him. He's only polling at 1%. He has no chance next. Mike Lindell, he would lose. Plain. He's the CEO of MyPillow, and everyone knows what's been going on with that. He would lose. Mike Pence. Mike Pence is polling just as good as Ron DeSantis, and I think there would be a very similar case between the two, although Ron DeSantis is a younger and more inspirational towards voters. I do think that Ron DeSantis would do a little bit better than Mike Pence would, although with Mike Pence not cooperating with Trump overturning the election, I do think that there would be a lot less hate towards him. Now, Mitt Romney, this will be interesting. He ran for president twice already. What the hell am I reading? No way he was the governor of Massachusetts? I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. That's interesting. But yeah, no, besides that, he definitely, either way, he sits well with moderate Democrats, and not very much with liberal Democrats, but Democrats overall. Mitt Romney is not he's a early 2000s Republican. He's not extreme. He's definitely he's unbipartisan. I think that's the right word. I don't know. He's not biased towards his party. He will vote with the Democrats in some cases. He voted to uh, impeach Trump or get rid of Trump or whatever you want to call it. And Mitt Romney definitely could do decent. Depends. He did lose in 2012 against a specific Obama, although that was when Obama brought back a lot of the economy, and he was also incumbent during that time. It would have been a different thing if Mitt Romney ran against him in 08, but this was 2012, and there was not much chance to win against an incumbent anyway. Although, yeah, Mitt Romney, he would do very well. He's one of the other people I see doing well here. Marco Rubio would just do significantly worse than Ron DeSantis and probably lose if he didn't. If Ron DeSantis didn't run and Marco Rubio ran, he more than likely there would be another Republican that would run. Ben Sasse is just publicly known. He's not really considering running for president. He wouldn't win for president. Trump would take him down. That's that. Although it would be the same thing with Mitt Romney. I don't think he could get taken down much quicker. Mitt Romney has a very good base among the Republicans. Yeah. And these last three, Rick Scott won't run. He has bad approval ratings. He's a bad senator. Any other person from Florida on here would do better. Donald Trump Jr. won't win. Plain. He has no political experience. He's a businessman. Same with Eric Trump. Eric Trump's a fucking idiot. As you might notice, I've been very kind to a lot of the Republicans, but when it gets to the Trumps, I get a little biased there. But no, yeah. Decline to be candidates. Tucker Carlson, he wouldn't win. Dan Crenshaw, he wouldn't win. Joni Ernst would be competitive, especially since it's Iowa, one of the first ones where she would win. She could do decent, but I don't know enough about her to say anything. Josh Hawley, thank the Lord he's not running. He would do horribly and would just split the vote and make the Republican Party completely indecisive. Josh Hawley would do bad. Kristi Noem would do bad. Dan Patrick would do bad. A lot of the people that decline to be candidates would do bad. Tim Scott could do okay. I would say that. Ivanka Trump wouldn't do very good either. Scott Walker could do decent. He ran for president in 2016, and I do think he can do well. What does he look like again? I want to make sure I'm looking. Yeah. He could do well. I could see that. Dwayne Johnson. This would be a very interesting one. The only time I'd see Dwayne Johnson becoming president is if they eliminate the Electoral College. Obviously, he would be under a independent, probably, to get less hate from his fans, because they are very like if Lady Gaga ran for president as a Democrat, all of her Republican fans would hate her. Same reason, other way around. Brock Pierce. I mean, it's the same with all of these. Only way I would see. Honestly, no, Kanye West would get absolutely destroyed. Never mind. Oh, here's the one that came up recently. Meghan Markle. Yeah, everyone knows who Meghan Markle is. I don't think she would win at all. No matter what party she runs under, she would do bad. Very, very bad. Very bad. Donald Trump has encouraged her to run, saying it would send him back to the White House, which actually does show an intention of him running. But again, it's more than likely going to be Trump country for the Republicans in the next 4 years, but we'll definitely get into it. Harris was passed by Michelle Obama at one point. I didn't know that. But yeah, as soon as that was seen, as soon as Harris started sitting out, she went up more. Harris will definitely be the top contender for a while. Look how down Cuomo went. my God, he was top contender at one point. Now he's the worst one. The Buttigieg was going down a lot, but then now he's in like fifth or fourth. Ocasio-Cortez is actually in third right now. If you don't count Michelle Obama because she declined to run, she would be actually in second, but by significantly worse. Booker wouldn't win. I don't know why Booker's still on here. Probably because he's. Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama. Andrew Cuomo. He won. He was in the. Oh, that was August. But yeah, you look at the recent pollings. It's mostly Trump and Harris that have been in the lead forever. Since Biden won, they've been polling, and that's honestly how it's gonna go. All right, thank you guys for watching. Today is March 19th, 2021, and I will check in with you guys at one other point. Goodbye.